I thought I was flying halfway around the world just to get a sneak peek at Widex's newest AI hearing aid. But after arriving at their global headquarters in Denmark, I quickly realized that the hearing aid wasn't the only thing they'd been working on behind closed doors. In fact, there were entire projects going on that I wasn't even allowed to film. Things that could potentially change the way that hearing aids are selected and recommended in the future. And somehow, Ashley and I were getting a front row seat to all of it. Let's go to Denmark. As many of you already know, being the largest audiology-focused YouTube channel in the world comes with some pretty incredible opportunities. One of those opportunities is getting access to hearing aid technology months before it becomes available to the general public. This time, Ashley and I were invited to Widex headquarters in Denmark to get an early look at their newest hearing aid technology, the Widex Allure AI. And when I say early access, I mean early access. These hearing aids won't even be available in the United States until later this fall. So after hopping on a quick flight from Phoenix to LA and then a 10-hour flight from LA to Copenhagen, we landed in Denmark and headed straight to our hotel because we had a very long day waiting for us the next morning. So after we woke up super early and worked out due to the time zone differences, we met up with Caitlin Corman from WS Audiology, who had planned our entire visit, along with Mike O'Neill, the president of WS Audiology in the United States. We then made the drive from our hotel in Copenhagen to the home of Widex's global headquarters. And honestly, as someone who's reviewed hearing aids for years at this point, this felt a little like being invited behind the curtain. When we arrived, we got to meet the people responsible for developing some of Widex's newest technology. One of those people was Adam Westerman, a third-generation descendant of Widex's co-founder, Eric Westerman. And hearing him tell the story of how Widex was founded was incredible. So apparently back in 1956, Eric Westerman and Christian Topholm left their previous employer and started what would eventually become one of the most respected hearing aid manufacturers in the world. And now, nearly 70 years later, we were sitting inside of the company that they built discussing the future of hearing aid technology. But this is where things started to get really interesting. The main reason we were there was to learn about the new Widex Allure AI hearing aid. Now here's what I found fascinating. Most hearing aid manufacturers are currently using artificial intelligence to do one thing: remove as much background noise as possible from speech that you want to hear in a noisy environment. Widex is actually taking a different approach. Instead of trying to eliminate every sound around you, they're trying to preserve the natural listening experience while giving users an AI-powered boost when they need it the most. Their new feature that uses this artificial intelligence is called Clarity Boost. And unlike some AI systems that are running aggressively all the time, Clarity Boost is designed as an on-demand tool for particularly difficult listening situations. The goal isn't to remove everything. The goal is to help separate speech from noise while still sounding natural. And if you've followed my channel for any length of time, you know that that's been one of the defining characteristics of Widex hearing aids over the years. But the hearing aid wasn't actually the most surprising thing that they showed us. Before we ever got fit with hearing aids, the WS Audiology team shared something that honestly caught me completely off guard. They shared more about their sound preference testing initiative, which is designed to help predict which hearing aid processing strategy someone might prefer before they ever wear a hearing aid. Now think about that for a second. Imagine walking into a hearing clinic and taking a test that helps to determine which type of hearing aid sound processing your brain is most likely to prefer. That's exactly what they're exploring. Since WS Audiology owns both Widex and Signia, and those brands process sound completely differently, they're investigating whether sound preference testing could help predict which processing strategy a patient may ultimately like better. So naturally, Ashley and I had to try it. When I took the test, the results suggested that I didn't have a particularly strong preference. But Ashley? The system immediately identified a strong preference for frequency-based processing. Now this work continues to evolve, but if it ultimately proves to be predictive of real-world preferences, it could become a fascinating tool for hearing care professionals in the future. And honestly, this is the type of stuff that I just love to see. Not just new products, but new ways of improving patient outcomes. After all the meetings, the demonstrations, and the testing, it was finally time for the Widex Audiology team to fit both Ashley and I with our own pair of Widex Allure AI hearing aids. And yes, they did it the right way. They used real ear measurement verification to ensure that they were amplifying sounds properly to my hearing loss prescription. Once everything was dialed in, we packed up, said goodbye to the team, and headed back to Copenhagen to see what these hearing aids could actually do in the real world. That evening, we went out to dinner, and this was the first opportunity I had to really evaluate these devices outside of a controlled environment. The first thing I noticed was not the artificial intelligence. It was how natural everything sounded, which honestly shouldn't surprise me coming from a Widex hearing aid. But when I switched into the new Clarity Boost program, I immediately noticed a difference in the separation between speech and the background noise. Conversations became easier to focus on without completely disconnecting me from everything else happening around me. And in a noisy restaurant, which is exactly what you want. At one point, I was listening to conversations around me, music playing in the background, dishes clanking, people moving around, and I was still able to follow conversations clearly. Granted, the sample size was really small, but it was a very good first impression. But dinner was not the final test. Afterward, we headed downstairs to a jazz club where Shelby J, former backup singer for the one and only Prince, was performing. And if you're wondering whether I tested the hearing aids there, the answer is actually no. Because the second the music started, I immediately realized I didn't need hearing aids, I needed earplugs. Because if I wanted to return home with the same hearing that I arrived with, hearing protection was definitely the correct choice. And honestly, that's probably the most audiologist thing that I've ever said. As our time in Copenhagen came to an end, I was excited to get home to begin my full review process of the new Widex Allure AI hearing aids. But here's the thing, we didn't go home. Instead, Ashley and I boarded another flight to another destination for another project. One that I can't tell you about just yet, but I can tell you this. Our trip wasn't over yet. We were headed to another destination to get an early look at another type of technology that hasn't been released yet. And I'll be sharing that experience with you guys really soon. So if you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure that you hit that subscribe button with the notification bell, because the next chapter of this trip is coming really soon. And trust me, you're not going to want to miss it.